Fantasy Edge with Richard Savill and Dennis Sosic.
Hello, and welcome to the Fantasy Edge for week 4. And, well, I don't know what week 4 is going to bring because we had a lot of injuries this week. And you might need some replacements. We got this big Thursday game coming up. So I think there's some injuries on a short week there. But I'm not forgetting that Dennis Sosic is with us waiting in the wings, and Davis Peng with Peng's Picks a little later on. But we need to bring in Dennis, and I always bring in Dennis with a little bit of an intro. So, yeah. What would the Fantasy Edge be without Dennis Sosic?
Thanks, Richard. Appreciate the intro.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting waiver wire for us with the injuries. It's going to test everyone's depth on their roster because there's some important players going to be out this week.
Yeah,
future weeks.
Players that should actually already be rostered. I think guys like Khalil Herbert and Madison, they should be rostered already.
Yeah, you would think so, but some leagues they could have been dropped. They had people draft them and then they don't see anything for a couple of weeks. Dropping them for the next so-called hot thing, and then then they get burned by this. So that's why you keep the depth on your roster.
Well, I can see Alex Madison not being rostered because he's kind of like he basically sits. But Khalil Herbert, I think you can flex him in a deep league, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I always thought that he was going to be a better back than Montgomery for this offense. So I try to grab him in all of these I could. I have him in like 2 or 3 leagues, and I'm geared up to see what he could do as the main back. I mean, we're not sure how long Montgomery is going to be out for, but Herbert obviously showed that he can handle his business when he was out there. He played great.
Yeah, let's talk about, since they are the kind of the top guys, and I mean it's kind of obvious that they would be waiver pickups. Alex Madison and Khalil Herbert. It's kind of obvious that they would be picked up, but so they are both, I believe, Montgomery and Cook are day-to-day. He had a shoulder separation, actually, Cook, right?
Yeah, it's not his first one either. He's had shoulder issues, throughout his career, and that's many of the reasons why, Madison has a lot of value in fantasy leagues because it seems like Cook is always out for at least a game or a few games with that shoulder issues. So Madison's nice, someone to have on your roster, the depth piece, and obviously now you're able to capitalize on it.
Yeah, these are players that when you draft, when you're in the draft, you have to. I'm always kind of fond of stashing good, like high end cuff, like Montgomery, which I did in the league that we're in, and I did in the league that's the other F6P league. I picked them, and Khalil Herbert, as a matter of fact. I picked these guys up because they're bound to go down, and this is why, and we're kind of like, this is not to. We have to mention DeAndre Swift too because he's going to be out several weeks too.
Right.
Jamal Williams is.
I was gonna say the same too. Somehow Jamal Williams is available in your league. He has to be one of the top pickups as well. I mean, he's shown that he could be producer, especially in that offense. I mean, their Lions offense is explosive right now, and Goff is playing pretty well. So Williams scored 2 touchdowns, and he has the ability to in short spurts to be very productive. So if he's available, I'm grabbing him as prioritized out of the 3. If all 3 are available, if that was you, Herbert, Madison, or Williams.
Yeah. I would go after Craig Reynolds. Just because now he's the next man up. He's the next one behind. And so if anything happens to Jamal Williams, you've got the next guy. So you don't have to worry. So Craig Reynolds is a good pickup, and he's in our waiver ranks this week as well. And I see Jamal Williams is not in there because Jamal Williams is obviously, he's one of those, he has a little bit standalone value because of the way the Detroit Lions run their offense.
Yeah.
So he was picked up. He's a good back, Jamal Williams, and people who have him, he definitely has. I'll say it. He has RB1 upside. I'll say it. Sure.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, it's feasible. I mean, so those guys, I mean, with Herbert and Madison, they're definitely going to be, RB1 options, if they're going to be playing for the next couple of weeks. And it looks like Cook will probably be out for sure next week. Montgomery, I'm not sure what's going on with him, but I mean, he's kind of injury prone too. So, I mean, we'll see Herbert hopefully take over that position. I'm hoping. Prove myself right, I guess. More of a self-fulfilling prophecy than anything else, but I'll take.
But they are the big three of the. I believe Mixon is a little banged up as well. Am I? Have I got that right?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, but I think he's probably the best of the players trying to come back. I think he's not going to be out next week. And P. Ryan played pretty well in his spot. So, I mean, if you're looking to handcuff someone, get a handcuff for Mixon, I get same with P. Ryan as well. But, I mean, the other guys are obviously the ones you want to grab first.
Yep. Injury. We got to talk about Mac Jones.
Yeah.
High ankle sprain, pretty severe. Timeline, don't know yet. He's out for. We do know that he will not play against the Packers in Week 4.
You see him on the field after he got hurt?
I did not. I didn't see it on Red Zone.
Yeah, he tried to limp off the field. He looked like he couldn't even move his leg, and then they had to carry him off in the locker room. It looked pretty bad. I mean, obviously he was in a lot of pain, and it proves right. I mean, I guess last update I saw, there's a consideration of surgery being done, but that's not certain. So obviously that's how extreme of an injury it is. I mean, now you're left with Brian Hoyer,
and this guy Bailey Zapp.
Yeah, Anyways, Hoyer, he's just a game manager. That's somebody I wouldn't even touch. But I mean, if you're desperate, and I think people that are out there is Matt Jones, then I guess you have to really deep leagues. But yeah, I'm not touching Hoyer.
No. I did see a bit of Bailey Zapp in the preseason. It's okay. Of course, he was playing against the opposition lower teams, so you don't really know what he would be like in the playing with the ones. But it's definitely going to be Hoyer first. Belichick won't put out Zapp.
Yeah, I doubt that. Yeah,
it is Zapp, isn't it? It's not Zappa or Zappa.
Frank Zappa.
Frank Zappa. Well, I don't know because
Dweezil will be out there.
But there's this that letter E on the end sort of throws me off. Is it Zappy or is it Zappa or is it the E silent? It's just Zap. I think it's Zap, actually.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to have to worry about that too much. So.
Don't say that too quickly.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd be surprised if he plays him. He didn't show that much in preseason.
He wasn't bad. I've already stated. I saw a bit of him. I was interested to see what the guy's got. He's I don't know. He's average, I guess. I mean, but not bad, not good, not terrible, but. Get him out there. I like to see him. Get that fresh blood. Get him out there. See what he's like. See what he's like out there with the big boys. Okay. Injury. Jalen Guyton's out for the season. Not a big deal, but worth mentioning because it kind of clears a little bit of room for Carter and Palmer. And I think Jalen Guyton being out is actually better for Carter, I think, because Palmer's more the replacement for Keenan Allen, as evidenced by the 99 yards he got.
Right, he looked really good out there. Yeah, he's one of my sleeper picks this year, so I'm glad he's doing well. Oh, Palmer, not Guyton. Guyton's
deep
like
threat.
Deep threat, exactly, yeah. I mean, losing him, I saw they also lost the left tackle, too. They lost Slater to an injury as well. He just tore his tendon or something in his arm.
Right.
So he's out, too. So, I mean, that offense, I mean, and, Herbert tried to play through yesterday. He wasn't. He showed it. He didn't play very well. The offense got beat, by Jacksonville. Holy crap! Where did that come from, by the way? Yeah, after beating the Colts, then they came out and beat the Chargers. They're looking very good.
It's the defense. I think their defense is really good. That number 23, I mentioned it in the blurb view because I wanted to see how come the Colts lost. So I watched the coaches film, and this number 23, what's his name? Luke. He's got a funny name. I can't remember how it. He's got a strange name, Olagugun, And I'm watching this guy, and he doesn't make a lot of plays on his own, but he's directing the defense. You go here, you go here, you go here, you go here. He knows exactly what's going on. I mean, he recovered a fumble. I mean, he didn't cause the fumble, but I mean, he recovered a fumble. But I mean, it's not his play. It's this guy that they've got as middle linebacker. He's definitely a guy. He's worth to put his name up. I'm gonna get his name. Because it's only fair because and I'm hoping I can pronounce it. It's one of those ones, isn't it? But in fairness, but this guy he's not making a lot of plays, but I'm just watching him in the game film is impressive. He's pointing fingers. You go here, you go here, you go here. Okay, here it is. Oh, man. Foyesade Olu Oken. Foyesade Olu Oken.
Wow. Okay.
That's the best I can do.
Oh, you're fine.
They got him from the Falcons and signed him through a 3-year deal. And they're going, well, what? And I'm looking at his stats. Well, he doesn't got a lot of stats and everything. They're signing this guy in the offseason. They signed him for a 3-year deal. Now I see why. He's a leader. He's a captain he knows. He's a director. He directs. And it's a good pickup for the Jaguars. I think this Foyesade Olagugun. Number 23.
Yeah, there you go. It's easier that way, right?
Yeah, number 20.
They get a good young defense. I mean, they're playing probably playing above their heads, but they're playing great. I mean, I think like second in turnovers forced and top 10 in yards allowed, points allowed. I mean, they're playing out of their minds right now. So, good for them. I mean, Doug Peterson's been a savior for their franchise after dealing with Urban Meyer, and in the right direction. So it's good to see. But they played very well last 2 weeks.
Yeah. You know what? Remember when we were talking about it would be good to sit in one of those meetings with the team in preseason about because they teach players about how to watch film.
Right.
I'd love to sit on there. I'd like to learn a little bit more about how they watch film and how to watch film. Because when I'm watching, because I don't really watch coaches' film a whole lot, but whenever I do, and if I'm looking for something in watching coaches' film, I see things that I wasn't looking for the first. You start getting distracted. I'm going to start watching this guy,
right.
Seeing what he's doing. You get sidetracked from what you were originally doing. I mean, it's interesting when you watch the coach's film on Game Pass. You get this isn't a plug for Game Pass, but I mean it has these things, right, that are kind of handy.
Sponsor.
Yeah, these things are kind of handy to have. Yeah. Well, maybe we need it. All right. Okay.
Injury.
We got to talk about AJ Green. He's just out for a week. Really kind of a non-factor. The guy that's everyone's talking about right now is Dortch. And we'll probably be talking a little bit more about him later. So AJ Green out for a week, so
no big loss there.
Yeah. Oh, one more time.
Injury.
Yeah, we got to talk. We have to talk about Tua. And say it was his back. He had a back injury. He needed a bit of a rub down or something. I don't know. And so he left early for the second half, about 3 minutes before the half, and then he comes out, and the NFL Players Association went ballistic because they think that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it didn't really look like. It didn't. It's the strangest looking back injury to me, but he was back out there and he was fine. So I don't know. What do you think? Do you think they're trying to hide a concussion here clumsily?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Did you see his little stagger?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, so yeah, he would look like he was one of my nights back in the day, drinking a little too much, trying to stumble into the next to your car or something. But he didn't look good at all. I've had back troubles before. I never walked with back troubles, so I'm not sure how they're gonna blame that on back troubles or anything. But I think he had a concussion. They're trying to hide it, and hopefully he's okay. I mean, he played pretty well afterwards.
Yeah, fine.
He may have just been playing in the haze and didn't realize what's going on.
Didn't splash us with fantasy points, though. It's the kind of game you don't. Wasn't really expecting a lot of fantasy points against the Bills, but he's definitely still winning the game, even though he didn't score the fantasy points. Winning the game is kind of a big deal. Did you see the when the Bills couldn't set the ball for a spike in time? The coaches in the booth.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, I don't think we have you, Dennis, and pause it till I get you back. So yeah, that was awesome about the Bills in the booth there. They went nuts that it didn't.
It was funny.
Well, it was just just no time. You kind of knew that was going to be. It was one of those things like Dak Prescott in the playoffs last season.
Yeah.
There's only it's the referee. They do try to go quickly. They know teams want to get going, and they do try to place the ball fast for them. But I think there's no issue there. I think it was just the fact that it was a bobbled snap, which doesn't help. Yeah. And so the bobbled snap, they couldn't get the proper spike because of so he ended up having to throw it, and then they ends up inbounds. And if whoever caught it managed to get out of bounds, they might have had a chance there.
Yeah, they were pissed. It was fun to watch. That's like a bunch of NFL fans watching a game. That's how we react to throwing stuff around the living room and remotes and everything else. Mm-hmm. That's how we react as well. So it's good to see that kind of energy.
I never get, it never bothers me, that kind of thing. I don't get fazed much by that kind of stuff. But I guess if you're dedicated and in there, but you could see the other guys, they weren't too happy either, but they weren't throwing stuff around.
I'm being a diehard Browns fan, and watching a bunch of heartache with them, when they lost the Jets and they gave up all those points at the end of the game, I was definitely throwing stuff at the TV. But so I'm kind of, I know the way they feel, same way I react.
Kind of a funny way. I mean, they only needed a field goal because of that botched punt. But actually, that botched punt kind of helped them because they were able to get, with the free kick, they were able to get it a lot deeper than they would have otherwise. And I think there would have been the botched punt that, it kicked it right into the butt of the other guy and it just bounced out of bounds. So, yeah. But
that was funny.
It shouldn't have been in that spot in any case. It should just, I don't know, handed it to Edmonds or Mostert and then get some breathing room there. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's like a number one rule when you're down there. Get out of go up the middle and get a couple yards to give yourself some breathing room. Do what you want to do from there. Yeah.
Crazy old game.
Right? We're just talking about fantasy.
Yeah, well, we gotta add a little bit of football talk into it because after all, it's the part of the thing. Okay, well, I guess we'll get into our waiver wire picks and. Of course, here are the early, hot off the press waiver rankings from Fantasy Pros, and we're here to critique the experts that do these things. Actually, how we were talking that we could do these, and you know what, Dennis, we should involve ourselves with it because it's really quite easy to do because they only give you a short list and you don't have to rank a whole bunch of guys. You just, they don't give you a long list of guys, so they sort of keep them under 50% owned, and those are the guys you rank, and then that's it. So they're pretty easy. They're pretty easy to rank. So we should maybe do that and join them, but because. Well, I don't know. Then we can criticize ourselves.
They'll be criticizing us then.
Yeah, but I like criticizing them more. I guess I don't know. We'll see, folks. We'll see.
Right.
We'll see.
We'll give it a shot.
We'll give it a shot.
Yeah. So we take a look at the quarterback position.
Okay.
Another familiar face comes out again. Coffin, number one.
Yeah.
He's. In that offense, he has a lot of talent around there, but he didn't have that great of a game on Sunday. He only threw for 277 and a touchdown after multiple touchdown weeks. But I think he is, with that talent around him, if he's still available, I definitely don't think he's a bad pickup to have on your roster, especially as a backup at first. And if you lose a Mac Jones, why don't you have Coffin in the story? But if he's still available, I grab him. I would take him, put him on my bench.
Yeah, he's not bad, especially if you've got, if you want to do a stack, if you've got Amon-Ra, or even Swift or Williams on your. It's always good to have the quarterback matched up with your guy then you get all those. You get a nice bucket of points if he throws a touchdown pass to these guys. So worthwhile. Right. Worthwhile if you're fed up with Tim Tebow. I mean Justin Fields.
Oh, ouch. Yeah, his offense still ain't crap. I mean, without Herbert doing anything, I'm not sure if they would freaking score. I mean, I don't understand what's going on.
Won the game, can't complain. I mean,
yeah, I guess so.
Winning is everything. I mean, it's like Baker.
Even Fields said that he's been playing like shit, but he admits it. But it's still, I mean, a lot of it's the offense, a lot of it's Fields, admittedly. And some of it's also the play calling or lack thereof, play calling passes.
Yeah.
They're still not touching the ball enough. And, all their weapons are suffering except for the running game, which is, doing great. So hopefully they can play off of that and create some separation and get some big plays out of that offense.
The only two other quarterbacks besides Goff I'd pick up or consider perking up are the next two. I'm not interested in the final three. It's just Winston and Mariota are the only two I would consider.
Yeah, I agree.
The rest on this list, Garoppolo, Hoyer, and Zapp. I don't think you got to be pretty. I don't know what kind of deep league you're in to get a guy like Zapp, but I don't know. Some people like to speculate. Pick up a guy on spec. True.
Yeah,
so
you look like a genius if he does hit though, but. He just wait for. I mean, he just someone you dump after that. So, but yeah, I agree. Winston and Mariota only two. Mariota actually has been he's thrown for 3 scores and ran in 3 games. So he's producing. He has a nice floor, and he's playing against the Browns. Who I don't know if you heard about Myles Garrett got in a car accident.
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean he's going to probably broken arm. So without their best defender, the Browns defense ain't going to be that great.
So what happened? He broke his arm in an accident.
Yeah, Myles Garrett did. Yeah, it was happened I guess this evening. Car. I mean he was driving his Porsche. He was going like 60 and a 45, and he flipped over a couple times. And luckily, it's all he had was because his car looked pretty.
What is wrong with these guys? What is wrong? Don't they know what happened to Ruggs last year?
Right, stupid.
I mean, it is stupid because look at what happened with Henry Ruggs. The career gone. Don't these guys think?
They definitely do not.
Because Henry Ruggs, his career's gone.
Yeah, it's sad.
That's sad, but I mean, it's sad. It's sad for the woman he killed. I mean,
yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I mean, but it's you don't. Anyway. But speaking of Winston, it's Chris Olave. Maybe it's not Michael Thomas anymore. Maybe it's just Chris Olave. 9 catches for 149 yards. Targeted 13 times. I mean, we got to talk about that a little bit.
Oh yeah, he has more receiving yards than Jefferson, Devonte Adams, and Jamar Chase. I mean, he's going to wide receiver 2 territory already, and I mean he's someone that if he's available. I mean, I think he's available in 35% of Yahoo leagues. So if he's out there, he'd probably be my top priority, right? He's looked unstoppable out there. And Winston's playing well, even though Winston has his back issues, but he's still playing well. And their receivers are hurt. Michael Thomas is hurt. Landry got hurt. So, I mean, Lave's he's stepped up and he's someone I would grab ASAP.
Yeah, if available. I see he's not in the wide receiver list, but, Winston's a guy. You gotta get it, Winston. And Goff. Goff is okay. Goff is not great, but I think matchup based, like Mariota, if the matchup's right, Mariota and Goff are good to slot in. Okay, running backs. Of course, we talked about Khalil Herbert and Alexander Madison to death. I see they have Jalen Warren still on the list. I don't know why Jalen Warren is still on the list. He should be picked up by now.
Yeah, you would think so. Plus, he looked pretty good on against the Browns. He 30 yards, and he had 2 red zone attempts. Najee only had 3. So I mean, he's getting the ball. I mean, he's someone you should grab, and Najee is. I mean, Najee still look good on. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, Warren, he's going to get the ball. I mean, their quarterback Trubisky didn't look good at all. They were dropping passes. Offense is kind of a wreck, so they should just go back to running the ball and let these 2 guys pound the rock, and hopefully it opens up their offense a little bit more.
Yeah. Craig Reynolds, we talked about him briefly. He is now the backup for Jamal Williams until I think. As I said, worth a pickup. It's kind of an if you've got room, you can stash him. I like the stash of Craig Reynolds. And this is not to confuse with the other Reynolds on the team, who's the wide receiver. Don't get confused by that.
Right.
There's not Josh Reynolds. We're talking about Craig Reynolds here. So just to be clear, it's easy to get confused. People, you don't want to pick up the wrong guy.
definitely not.
So
Definitely not. Yeah, I mean, he's a good pickup, especially if Swift is out for an extended period. That's definitely someone you want to grab. I mean, who knows how long Swift's going to be out for, but they're saying a week, 2 weeks, I mean, who knows. But if you hear he's getting announced, I mean, you probably won't know by the time you do your waiver wires. So you have to put the bullet and take a shot at him. But like you said, if you have a deep roster, he's definitely worth the pickup. Someone you should stash.
You can stash to a little lesser extent, but I mean, Cordell Patterson is playing like a beast right now.
Yeah, he is. Oh, my. Yeah, he is. He's playing phenomenal. And we thought last year was a fluke, but he's proven that last year was definitely not a fluke. And he's looked great. I mean, he's someone that, everyone thought Algier was going to take his spot, but I
love that leap. Did you see that big leap that he made over a guy?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, that was awesome. Guy was grasping for air, man. That was awesome. Yeah, he's
good way to get injured, but but
right.
It shows his determination. After he did that, it wasn't like, sometimes when guys do that, they maybe get a couple more yards. Like, he got a full, like about 10 yards extra out of there.
Right. So it didn't stride. He looked.
Yeah. So Cordero Patterson, his Tyler Algier. When Tyler Algier had his chances, he looks okay. So we're talking about another stash here, and Tyler Algier definitely worth a stash. Your guy, Eno Benjamin. What do you think? Okay, Eno Benjamin, you're he's kind of one of your favorite cuffs for some reason.
For some reason. Yeah, I thought he'd make a difference, out of the backfield. He didn't do anything really impressive at all. And that offense is all Kyler Murray and nothing else. Even James Conner is not looking good out there. So I stay away from Benjamin.
I don't like their offense. Their offense drives me nuts. The Cardinals, they're sort of, I don't know, it's messy. It's not. I've said it before. It's a bit of a chaotic offense. It's just I said it in my I said it in the blurb review that they're we make it up as we go along offense.
Pretty much. I mean, just let Kyler figure out something, and then hopefully somebody gets open, so you just throw it up there, and hopefully someone catches it. That's, what I mean? That's
it is. It's
pretty
not.
Sad.
It is not. It's not got a. It's not. You know how you can tell offenses that have sort of a clear plan, or I don't know whether it's got to do with Murray or what, but maybe it does. Maybe Murray's part of that, but I don't know. It's sort of higgly-piggly. It doesn't look. It looks. I don't know. It's backyard football style, sort of. I don't know.
Yeah, pretty much. That's all it is. Pretty ugly.
Next on the list is James Cook of Buffalo. Now, this is an interesting guy to pick up too. I've noticed, and maybe you've noticed it too, is that they're slowly bringing this guy in. Every game, he's getting a little bit more work. Do you think? I don't think they're looking to get rid of Singletary, but they're definitely trying to work this guy in. I think he's a definite worth a stash.
Oh, I agree with that. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm surprised Singletary. I mean, he got a career high 9 receptions in that game. I was like, what? He never even catch the ball. How did he get 9 receptions? James Cook is explosive back. I think he's someone that they want to add another element to that offense. He's a nice PPR option if you want to throw him in the back of your bench. Not a bad pickup at all. Yeah,
I'm just going to take a look at his stats for this week. James Cook, he got... Come on, little wheel there. I'm waiting. Okay, he had 1 rush for 3 yards. Targeted 5 times, 4 receptions, 37 yards. I mean, he had 11 carries against Tennessee.
Right.
So they are working him in like slowly, a little more and more and more, and eventually, I don't know. You definitely got to stash this guy. Definitely, if he's out there, he should be stashed if you got room. And you might have other priorities because of Herbert and Madison, as we mentioned. But if you're one of the lucky people that don't have to worry about Herbert or Madison, or aren't targeting them in your waivers, or there's somebody, or you didn't get them and it's left over, but you should put Cook on the priority list somewhere.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I probably actually move him above, Algier, maybe even Reynolds too, I think, because Reynolds is more of a stash, and now it depends on if Swift is hurt, how long he's going to be out for. So I think I'd move him up a little bit more.
Yeah. RB7's a bit low. Yeah, that's a good point. RB7, maybe. Well, he should be ahead of Warren.
Yeah, probably that too. I'm moving up to, at least on their list, they got Herbert, Madison, and then probably Cook instead of Warren.
Yeah. Interesting. Finally, to round out the list, I got Tristan Ebner, who I saw him in preseason. Looked okay. I can't remember. I'd have to look at the film again. But I do remember. I do know the name. I do know the name. Tristan Ebner. Yep. I do know the name. There was just nothing stand out. If there was something that stood out, I would have remembered it. But now that he backs up Khalil Herbert, but he's fine at RB8 there at the bottom of the waiver pile. That's absolutely fine.
Yeah, he just, in case Montgomery's out for extended period, it's nice to have, just like with Craig Reynolds, same kind of option, deep league option in case the backup is out. Then you got someone that could step in and be productive for you right off the bench.
All right. Well, before we get into the wide receivers and tight ends, let's see what Davis has to say about Week 4 with Peng's picks.
Peng's Picks with Davis Peng.
Hey everybody, this is Davis Peng, writer for Fantasy Six Pack, and this is my Peng's Picks of Week 4. First thing I want to go over is last night's primetime game and Russell Wilson specifically. What you're feeling from last night of how bad that game is, what you're feeling from it, from having him as your starter. I want you to remember this next year and every year after. I wrote about Russell Wilson in the past, last year, and then even this year about being drafted too early. He should be a high-end streamer, not someone you sit there and start with confidence every single week. And a high-end streamer is someone like Kirk, a guy that's probably in that 50-50 zone where he can be pretty good, but he's just, you just only play him in favorable match, right? So that's where Russell Wilson should be categorized, and I hope last night is a very big reminder or a wake-up call. Moving on to the next, I know that there were some interesting games. I want to cover Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk is wide receiver 6 on the season. He has had back-to-back relevant fantasy weeks, and we should be ranking him top 12 to top 6 players the rest of the season, regardless of matchup. Trevor Lawrence has taken a step forward. His new weapon has worked for him. Christian Kirk has landed all over the field, and he's taking advantage of it. So you should be too. If someone still devalues Christian Kirk in your league, trade for him. If you have him, hold him tight. He should never be sitting on your bench. He should be played against higher than guys like Mike Williams, Allen Robinson, DK Metcalf. These guys that a lot of people love, myself included. And I'm playing Christian Kirk every single week until further notice. I'd even probably play him over Michael Pittman at this point. So take that for what it's worth. And that's it for my Peng's Picks of this week. It's a little short since I'm out of town. Next week will be a lot longer, a lot better. Have a good one, guys.
Thanks, Davis. I think he likes Christian Kirk.
I don't know. How do you figure that?
Well, I don't know. Just got the impression. He would start him over Michael Pittman. Maybe. Things are a bit on the low for the Colts, even though the Colts, they came up with that big win this weekend. But Christian Kirk actually, I do notice that his presence is starting to be felt on the team. I had low expectations for Christian Kirk this season. I freely admit it, but I don't know how you felt about Christian Kirk.
Yeah, I wasn't sure, what kind of offense they're going to have with Peterson there and if Lawrence would step up. Kirk actually, was a big player for Murray last year in Arizona, and this year, the big contract, everyone was kind of shying away from Kirk, but he's proven that his contract was well worth the money, and he's a WR1 right now, and can't deny it. I don't know if I go as far as playing over Pittman right now, but he's in that category. He's definitely in that realm of there's a group of receivers at the back end of WR1s, I think.
I kind of take on board what he says about Wilson. Wilson is a stream quarterback now, and he's not a guy that you're putting out there every week. Sadly.
Yeah, I think we're seeing the demise of Russell Wilson pretty quickly. Yeah, he didn't look good. Some of it's the offense, play calling, and some of it's just his. I think he relied a lot on his running ability to run away from your pass rush and stuff and create plays like that. But I think that's kind of gone away. He's a step slower, at least. So now he doesn't create those plays anymore. So he's stuck in the pocket, and he has some good receivers out there, good running backs, but they're not producing like we thought they were going to based on being the name of Russell Wilson. And I think Davis is right. He's in that realm of matchup based only, and like a Kirk Cousins kind of player. kind of agree with that.
I think Russell Wilson, his scurrying around him, getting the yards, doing the sort of like what Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson are doing nowadays. Those days kind of ended like after, excuse me, after their second Super Bowl appearance, ish, around that area there. You started seeing Russell Wilson not do as much of that rushing. Like, I guess you got to go back to around 2016 for all. Like, so he hasn't been doing like that kind of RPO stuff, I guess you could call it, like since those days.
Yeah,
like,
you would think they would be able to with that running game, but they're not really. They can't do it anymore. He's not that kind of quarterback.
And that's why the day will come for the same time. The day will come for Hurts and for Jackson, and that's the day will come. There will be a year when everyone says, "How come he doesn't run like he used to?"
Exactly. Yeah, everybody gets old.
Everyone gets old.
Time.
Yeah,
except for Brady. Except for Brady, he's the only one that can.
Brady doesn't run around that much. Rodgers sort of does.
Wise.
Oh, playing wise, yeah.
Yeah, playing wise, yeah.
That was another game. That was a good game. It wasn't. I wouldn't call it a great game because all the good players on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers weren't in. But I always find it interesting when Rodgers and Brady meet up. Well, legends of the game, I guess you call it. Like they're goats. A couple of goats out there.
Yeah. Yeah, it was still an entertaining game though.
Yep.
In moments. I mean, speaking of that, we have the number one suggested wide receiver.
Yes.
To pick up for according to the Fantasy Pros is Romeo Doubs, however you pronounce it.
Dobbs.
Dobbs. 8 catches and 8 targets, 73 yards, and a TD. And then no Sammy Watkins, no Christian Watson. The rookie stepped up and he showed some chemistry with Rodgers. So, if he's still available, I'd pick him up. We could
definitely
a receiver. Yeah,
it's not going to be Watson. Yeah. It's going to be Dobbs. I think that's pretty much it. Rodgers has found his footing with this guy, and Lazard can go back to being Lazard.
Second fiddle.
Well, there's also this issue too. We should mention too the Sammy Watkins. They put Sammy Watkins on IR, so he's going to be out for how long? I don't know. 4 weeks at least, we know. But Watson will get another chance. But I do think that Dobbs is the guy. He'll be the hot pickup this week.
Yeah, agreed.
For people who are needy in the receiving department. I don't understand Treylon Burks though. I see he's number 2.
I don't get that either. Yeah, what did he do? He didn't do anything. Why was he even in there?
I know he's kind of a dynasty darling, but I don't. If Woods isn't doing a whole lot, how can Burks do anything?
Exactly. And Tannehill ain't playing look good, so why would he even think about getting a dynasty receiver right now? I wouldn't touch Jalen Burks.
No.
Not in a redraft league. No way.
No chance.
He's not even in my top. Look at this list. I mean, we're not going to go over the list, but you're looking at. I'd probably take him. He's not even in my. I wouldn't take him. He's down probably toward the 13, 14 range at best of these receivers that we'll go over today. So
yeah,
I think all those have had him. So I'm not sure why he's at number 2.
Yeah, you got what did he do? He got 13 yards on 2 targets, 1 reception.
Yeah, good deal.
Yeah, he rushed the ball once.
Yeah.
But I know these guys might be looking at the future here. But we are looking at the future. But yeah, I see you got Russell Gage highlighted. God, no thanks.
You got the targets. So with those receivers, they had nobody playing receiver. They had to bring Cole Beasley back out of retirement to get a receiver to play. He had 12 catches for 87 yards. For PPR, 20 points. You can't. It's hard to take it away from them. They got the ball. So they're supposedly, obviously Evans will be back next week. Last I read that Julio is supposed to be back this week as well. But who knows? Julio always says he's coming back. He's seems like he's getting a little soft as older age.
Yeah,
and Godwin, who knows when he's coming back. So he's getting the ball. So you can maybe it's a third receiver or something if you're desperate. Not a bad pickup.
No. Michael Gallup not playing today, but he should be picked up because he's going to be coming back at some point. And then of course we talked about Josh Palmer, 99 yards, pretty good in an effort with. Yeah, I just want to stop on this the Herbert, them losing to Jacksonville. Do you think his injury was affecting him? The cartilage.
Yeah, I think so. You could tell that he wasn't. He didn't have the torque on the ball like he usually does. He used to usually throws, dimes out there, but he wasn't getting the zip on the ball like he used to.
Yeah, there's
So
not
maybe
that. He wasn't like, because you know what a Justin Herbert throw looks like. It's smooth.
Right.
It's clean. It's nice, spirally. I don't know. He's got good touch at the football, but I didn't see that. I guess it was sort of there, but like you said, the zip wasn't quite right.
Right.
I mean, you just throw the deep one at Jalen Guyton, but who knows? Interesting on this list, Zay Jones. Kind of talking about Christian Kirk. Zay Jones is worth a mention, though.
He is, yeah. He was doing well. With Lawrence about him, and I keep thinking, damn, it's Zay Jones. I really want to take the chance on Zay Jones, on my roster. I wish I would have now. I mean, he had 10 catches, and that offense is clicking right now. I mean, Kirk obviously is getting a lot of attention, but Zay Jones is also producing. You gotta give him credit.
Yeah, he's got to be moving on up. 11 targets, 85 yards, touchdown. That's producing.
Exactly.
But when you look at Indianapolis, the Colts, he got only 4 targets, but in week 1 he got 9 targets. So what are we going to get against Philadelphia?
Yeah, very interesting.
We'll have to find out. But I think you can pick him up. Can you flex him? Would I flex Zay Jones? I guess I might have against Philadelphia. Yes, he's a matchup-based guy. I guess I could.
Yeah, deep leagues you could. Yeah,
I could do it. I could do
PPR leagues. Yeah, I agree. And one of our favorites, Greg Dortch.
Dortch
on the list. He
was
taking advantage of his opportunities in Arizona. And he's been producing. No DeAndre Hopkins yet. And, Marcus Brown's actually showing out a little bit, but Dortch is getting the ball. I mean, he's producing out there. If he's still available, I pick him up.
I would.
He's worth
it. I got him. I picked him up practically I didn't even have to put in a waiver claim. I just picked him up a week ago previous. I thought, I'll pick up this Dortch guy. Now I'm glad I did, and because he's suddenly a guy that when a guy's getting targeted like that, Murray is not going to stop. Murray's not going to ignore him because it's obviously Murray has some sort of rapport with this guy. I don't know why, but it's not like, it could have happened like maybe with Andy Isabella perhaps, but no, it's this Dortch guy has got his eye, and he did try to toss it past guys like Andy Isabella, but didn't quite work out.
No, not at all. But he has a rapport with them, and take advantage of it and see what he could do with them. Until DeAndre Hopkins comes back, I think he's worth the pickup. And maybe when Hopkins gets back, before he gets back, maybe trade him away, get something for him. It's worth a try.
I would put him ahead of Burks. Burks, number 2, they got him on the list. Burks.
Right, agreed. Still don't make any sense on that.
Doesn't make any sense. I should move him right now. There we go. Well, I'm not going to delete them. Because, there are crazy people in this world who like stuff. But, how come Isaiah McKenzie's way down here? Come on. Go ahead.
Right, agree.
But in fairness, obviously, maybe Gabe Davis wasn't 100%, so
agreed.
Maybe that's why Isaiah McKenzie got a bit more this week, just to give.
He's produced. Even with, he produced last week. And obviously, Davis was hurt, didn't play, but he was doing well in the preseason, and he's carried over to the regular season. He's somewhat surprised he's still available in the leagues, but in PPR leagues, I take a shot at him.
Mac Hollins. Las Vegas. Yeah. I don't know. What's he doing on there? I don't know. Are we doing
one? Renfro didn't play, so he took over that, basically that position. They double, triple teamed Adams, and they just let Hollins run free. And you're right. He produced. If he's a great DFS player, if you happen to catch that he was, available and going to take for Renfro's spot there, a great DFS pick. But he is. I don't know if I would trust him. He's a third receiver. I'm not sure if Renfro's coming back this week or not. And if he doesn't, then I guess he's worth a shot in deep formats. If you're desperate for receiver right now.
Yeah.
If you're still waiting for Darnell Mooney to come out of it, or eventually maybe one day, you take it. I better play Hollins than Mooney, right? With Mooney. So I take a shot at him.
Speaking of Las Vegas, how you feeling about Devonte Adams these days?
I was waiting for that. Yeah, he didn't He's a little angry at the moment. Yeah, they didn't.
I told you he'd be angry. It'd be just like Amari Cooper all over again. I heard Amari Cooper was pissed off with the Raiders. He hated playing with the Raiders. He was so happy to go to the Cowboys, and now things are starting to look up on the Browns, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I mean, we have some to look forward to. I mean, we'll see if Brissett can keep playing the way he is. And talk about another player, too, a little bit about a person that stepped up as well. But yeah, I mean, Browns look good. I mean, they beat the Steelers. I mean, Steelers' offense looked like crap. So, yeah, that was kind of pathetic showing by them.
But we can't change the subject here because Amari Cooper was upset. Now, Devonte Adams is upset.
Circle back.
Yeah, we got circle back. I'm not letting you off the hook on here on this Devonte Adams. I mean, 2 receptions, 12 yards last week, 5 receptions, 36 yards. And in each case, a touchdown in each game. He's got a touchdown in each game. Just enough to save your fantasy weekend to say, okay, Devonte Adams is like, is this going to be a week where he doesn't get a touchdown? Then what?
We'll see.
Yeah, right. Is he going to get a touchdown every single game? All right, sure.
No, he won't. But
10 targets, 5 catches, 36 yards.
Mm-hmm. It's a long game.
Doesn't sound like a lot of production there. And against Arizona, gee, big game. Arizona came back with 2 catches, 12 yards, and a touchdown just to keep us fooled that he's means something in the Las Vegas. I don't see it. And I said that before, and you tried to talk me out of it. You did a little bit, and I went and put him up. Oh, I went and put it up on my rankings because I thought, well, maybe I'm a bit too hard. Maybe Devonte Adams the Packers would have done everything to keep him if they thought that.
Yeah.
But obviously, I don't think he's fallen off. I think it's just this system that's around him. It's like I said, it's Amari Cooper all over again. He's getting unhappy. He's not seeing, he doesn't, it's not like he doesn't have the rapport. We knew Carr was going to be different.
Yeah, of course. You know it's going to be like Rodgers, but you would hope you get some kind of production out of him. And he did the first week, and then now he's not playing so well. So we'll get it back. We'll get that chemistry going again. It's a long year.
It's a long year, but we kind of saw that with Waller, too. Waller's starting to pick up, but a little bit. Is he? What did he get? I'm going to look. I have to. Waller got 5 targets, 3 receptions, 22 yards, scoreless yards. And then he's playing against Denver, who are whenever you're playing Denver, you're going to get an 11-10 game.
Yeah, pretty much.
I just don't understand it. Whenever this was like the same last year, any team that plays Denver, downgrade temper your expectations if your fantasy players are playing against Denver. It's the same thing as last year. Nothing's changed. I can't stand that coach too, Nathaniel Hackett. I just don't know. What I know Davis talked about Russell Wilson. It's fans are upset too. Yeah, the week before this game against San Francisco, you still there this time? You're not? Well, I'm going to continue on with the story anyway. Last week, as I was about to relate a story here.
It's like 30-mile winds, and it's raining, thunder, lightning, shit here.
Right. Right. Well, you're back. That's the main thing. I was about to relate a story about the game last week that Denver played, and they needed third and half a yard, and they're just within field goal range. So instead of handing it off to one of the backs like Gordon or Williams, or even a short flat pass to the flat or to a tight end or something, or even Wilson just doing a line plunge would have been good enough. They do a sweep to this unknown guy and he just loses 3 yards. It doesn't make, it just didn't make sense, but okay, all right, dumb play. Teams make dumb plays all the time. Mm-hmm. But the dumbest thing was okay, they set up for a long field goal, so okay, you got a chance for a long field goal. And there's a delay of game penalty. So they lose 5 yards and they're out of field goal range, so they have to punt. So the whole thing was a total debacle, and this was in front of this was against the Texans, so the whole thing was a debacle. And the crowd later on in the game started chanting whenever the play clock was going down.
Oh yeah,
the crowd was doing the countdown.
Yeah, so that's awesome.
So the team doesn't forget the time's running out. So anyway,
That's awesome.
so but it's kind of indicative of how the Broncos are this year. Nothing is advancing very much with this team.
No, unfortunately.
No.
They got some talent on that team, too.
Yeah, they do.
So that's what makes it hard, especially for fantasy. I mean, I know fantasy is totally different, but still, I mean, you see the talent there. Like, I mean, this team should, these players should be phenomenal on this offense, and they ain't doing anything.
Yeah, sure.
Anyways,
is there anybody else to talk about on our wide receiver list this week? Cole Beasley?
Kobe, yeah, he had a couple catches. Did you see George Pickens' catch on Sunday night?
Yes, beauty.
That was the
beauty. It
was unbelievable.
Yeah, that was an OBJ special.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that was a great awesome catch. But he was, I mean, he was a preseason darling, and then with that quarterback play and the way their offense is, he was not going to have playing time. He kind of tripped up about it, and then he does that, and now he's going to be a very trending player to pick up. This week, people are going to hear about is that catch.
Yeah.
I don't know
problem is
I wouldn't target him as much, but
Johnson's a target hog there.
Absolutely.
So it's no chance of. I mean, even Claypool isn't getting. I mean, I think Claypool's getting more yardage by these these RPO schemes.
Right, agreed. Even Firemouth wasn't getting the ball until the end of the game. I mean, he only got a couple catches, but they were on the last drive, I think, one of the last drives that they had, so he was getting the ball either. So they had a lot of drop passes, but Trubisky missed a lot too. So he is, I mean, there were people in Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh fans that I know were looking already for Pickett to come in. So I mean, who knows what's going to happen over there?
Right. There is a name on here that I wouldn't mind picking up Perriman.
Yeah.
Brady seems to like him. Scantling, no. I don't know. I don't like Marquez Val. I don't like anybody on Kansas City right now.
Yeah. I mean, the offense is kind of like everyone chips in and no one stands out. CH is looking like someone to avoid as well. I mean, he's touchdowns, so everyone's on him, but he hasn't done crap without those 2 touchdowns. So high in CH.
Nobody's.
I wouldn't touch MVS. So.
I wouldn't even touch Pacheco now. So, and we talked about him like
he hasn't done it.
Yeah, it's just they're not putting him out there, which is typical of Reed, and Reed doesn't. He doesn't give rookies much, and you don't see it. Sky Moore didn't help himself.
Right, exactly. Of course, he had the opportunity to do well there, and he's not taking advantage of it.
He fumbled the ball, so that puts you in the doghouse. Well, speaking of fumbling the ball, and a guy who was just ready to come out of the doghouse, and what does Cam Akers do? Fumbles at the goal line, loses the football. I mean, they were comfortably ahead, but still, there's only one thing worse than fumbling at the goal line, is if you fumble at your goal line.
Right. That whole Akers and it's kind of. That's one thing I try to avoid Akers in all my drafts. I didn't want to take the chance with him. I feared that I still don't think he's ever going to regain that spurt that he had before. No. Because he's still, I mean, he has spurts, you can see it. But
he looked good. He had good burst. There's nothing, but for some reason you know what? A player like that, I think, you know what I think the problem is? And you know why I think he's sort of in the doghouse? And I think he doesn't have, some people aren't very smart, and I got a feeling he doesn't have a good football brain. I hate to say it. A lot of players like that. I like. There was a guy, great, had everything. There was this guy. He had height. He had speed. He had elevation. He had and he was big and just a beast. Mm-hmm. His name was Dorial Green Beckham, but he was the dumbest player that you could ever.
Nice.
You can't make a guy smart. There's no matter what you could do. He couldn't. The problem with Dorial Green Beckham, they couldn't put him out on the field. He only knew like about 2 routes. They couldn't. The guy couldn't be taught football. He didn't have a football brain, and he would have been that guy. That guy would have been a big star in the National Football League, but for his brain.
Yeah, unfortunately, you got to have some smarts to play football. Especially as a running back, and you have to be able to understand the pass protect and such, and learn your routes and stuff. So I can see Akers not being able to do that. That's why he's not very trusted in by the coaches in that.
And that's why they're I think they're trying to discipline him into. They're trying to get, okay, if we can't give him a football mind, we can at least get discipline into him, and that can maybe translate into better things. But angry at myself for drafting him because. But he was sitting out there, he's sitting out in the open like it's kind of one of those things where you gotta, you can't just leave him out there forever. But I didn't realize that, okay, this guy doesn't have a good football brain. That's why he's not out there. So that's the story about Cam Akers. And before we get into the tight ends, right, we were talking about, before we get into the tight ends, is there anybody else that we want to talk about in the wide receiver department?
No, I don't think so.
I think we can move on. Right. David Njoku. You know what? I think you were right. I think you mentioned him in a good light recently on one of our recent podcasts, and it's kind of looking that you're right.
Yeah, I mean, he's always been a good athlete. And he is, he signed a big contract to stay in Cleveland. He's actually shown very well. I mean, he's shown some chemistry with Brissett. And, he played great on Thursday night, helped the team get the W. So, if he's available in the league, I think he's going to be a top 12 tight end the rest of the season, so I grab him.
Yeah, I think that's true. And I even like Tyler Conklin. I picked him up in this Scott Fishbowl.
Yeah, that's a good pickup. Yeah, he's playing very well. I mean, I was fearing that he wouldn't do well because CJ Uzomah was there as well, because they signed both those guys in the offseason. So I thought they would basically catch each other out. But Uzomah hasn't been playing, and Conklin's stepped up. He's got had multiple back-to-back consecutive games of good fantasy production. So he's definitely. Probably, I think he rivals Njoku as the top pickup for tight end. I mean, I would rather, maybe because I'm a Cleveland fan, I'd probably go to Njoku, but I could see, taking Conklin instead.
There's some really good names on here. Even Evan Ingram has stepped up now, and he's worth looking at because of he scored a touchdown, that. And Jacksonville, I don't know, they're looking like a better team this year so far.
Yeah, we talked about that. They're playing well. I mean, I always try to avoid even Ingram, but I think maybe now I have to bite the bullet and actually give him his credit where credit is due, and he's actually producing as a tight end. Maybe as a streamer, I don't know if I would pick him as a starter, but I mean, maybe if you have some deep league and you have a bad tight end, he's not worth the pickup. And worth to take a shot at him and see if he can keep producing at that level.
I would put him ahead of Logan Thomas, who is number 3.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, because Wentz, I mean, he looked pretty horrific against the Eagles. That Eagles defense was a massacre. And, their offensive line, he got 9 sacks or something against Wentz, and he couldn't do anything, But yeah, I think I'd probably stay away from Thomas as well.
Some other names on here, I don't understand why Cole Kmet is ahead of Cameron Brate.
Right, yeah. He caught 2 passes. What do you want?
Yeah, Robert Tonyan, it's okay, but I don't think I've trusted a Green Bay tight end for a long, long time.
Right. Yeah, he was that.
Not since that
phenomenal year.
Yeah, there was one guy on the team many years ago. I forgot his name. He got an injury settlement and he left the league. He got injured around the same time as when Cobb got injured for a season. I forget his name. He was a really good player. A really good tight end.
Oh my God! I get a picture of him too. He wear 89, right?
Maybe.
Yeah. Mark Chimura? Is that what you're talking about?
No, not Mark Chimura.
No.
I'll get his name because it's kind of important to the.
Okay.
I gotta know. I gotta know. So, folks, you gotta put up with this from time to time because now I gotta go into the background of. First of all, I gotta look up. Okay, we'll start with that. There we go. Yeah, Green Bay. You'll know the name exactly. He had 1 or 2 good years. I think maybe one particular good year with Green Bay. Go back to, this is going way back. This is going back to when, I'll have it now. Where's the name? The name I'm looking for. Jermichael Finley.
Oh, there you go. I remember him.
Yeah, Jermichael Finley. He was 88, not 89, but you were close.
Close.
One number off. Yeah, Jermichael Finley. He was kind of the last tight end that I kind of trusted. He was more of an inside receiver, more like a slot receiver than he was a tight end to me. But Jermichael Finley, yeah, he had one or two good years there. But if I remember correctly, he had a really serious injury, and he couldn't play anymore, and they gave him a settlement, so he lived happily ever after. So.
Good for him.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame though. A good player, really. When
he
I look
was
at
talented. Yeah, he was a talented player.
Jake Ferguson, I see is on the list, but of course that's kind of a guy you'd have to have in now, because Dalton Schultz we don't know how long Dalton Schultz was out. No, he's questionable. He was definitely going to be probably out, but the fact that he was questionable means that he might be questionable next week, and he could be back in. So guys like Jake Ferguson, you're picking up for tonight's game. You're not picking him up, but I don't know how Jake Ferguson is doing. I think actually Cooper Rush in the early part of the game that I did watch was targeting another tight end on the Cowboys.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's why it's kind of hard to pick. There's no point.
I don't see Noah Brown anywhere on the wide receiver. I guess that's because Gallup's coming back, so Noah Brown is kind of a favorite of Cooper Rush, mainly because Noah Brown, when you're playing with the second team, you kind of get used to a guy, so that's why Noah Brown is probably out there.
Yeah, he's probably picked up by a lot of us now. Yeah, that little success, so he's doing well for himself. I mean, who knows with Gallup? I mean, he was supposed to be starting this week, and then last minute he's like, yeah, I'm not going to play him this week, so now who knows what's going on with if he had a setback or not. But
that's something you got to look at too when a quarterback goes out and the new quarterback comes in. You kind of got to look with the guys that they've been working with, and that that quarterback might say, Coach, I've been working with this guy. Can we put him in?
Right.
So that I have someone that I'm used to throwing to. And the coach would probably say, yeah, you can. Well, sure, why not? You can have Noah Brown in there, Cooper, sure. And sure enough, maybe that'll be what happens with Brian Hoyer. We don't know the down listers who, I don't know. Of course, Belichick, he rules with an iron fist.
Yeah,
we put out there, whoever we've got out there, you play with, and that's final.
That's right. Deal with it. Yeah.
Who do you think you are, Tom Brady?
Exactly.
So
better than Tom Brady.
Yeah. Yeah.
I made Tom Brady.
And then they'll say to Brian Hoyer, "Go get a haircut." What?
Right. I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh! I was thinking of Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert. Yeah.
All right. Gary, go get a haircut.
Right.
Yeah, you need a haircut. Well, of course. No. If nobody gets the joke, no. Brian Hoyer's bald, right? Okay. It's just so people who don't know will get the joke.
Right.
Right. And so with that little bit of levity that got cut off a little bit, but we have run overtime on our the Fantasy Edge today. Dennis, I hope there's no storms next week. We
have little issues today.
Yeah.
Technical difficulties. Yeah.
Yeah, technical difficulties. Fun show. We should be back on the Fantasy Edge. Thanks for joining us, folks. And maybe we'll have some better news without all these injuries. And I hope you get the waiver pickups that you wanted. So for Dennis Sosic, I am Richard Savill, Fantasy Edge F6P. Don't forget to check out the Blurb View Friday night. All the games, all the stuff. And check that out. Okay, see you next week on the Fantasy Edge. Take care. Bye-bye.